Hello, good evening and welcome to the workshop. What you're looking at here is my ML7 and it's set up slightly differently to usual. The two main things you'll notice is this is the cross slide, and on this cross slide normally there's a tool post here. And that tool post is right here. So normally this tool post and that little round spigot there attaches into there, and that's normally where you turn from. But what I've done is I've set this up for milling. So that means I've put a vertical slide in here. That's what this is called because it slides vertically. Well, you probably can't see that, but there you go. Slides vertically. And this bit here, this is where I've put the cutter in. So rather than having the work in here and the cutter here, I've got the cutter in the spindle and the work is being held straight. And what this does is this spins this 2-flute end mill, which is called a slot drill, against the work, and I can then use the various slides to move the work around and cut the face of the work nice and flat, or cut slots and cut holes and drill holes in it very accurately using the main machinery of the lathe rather than needing to have a milling machine or a separate drill press. As long as it fits within this little clamp, I can do it here, and if it doesn't, you can bolt the work directly to this piece here. This clamp comes off. So yeah, I wanted to show you what I've been doing with it really. So when I started, I thought I could just kind of get away with figuring out milling as I went along, and so I was using these milling cutters. This is a 3/8 milling cutter, 4-flute, and I thought, this is going to be perfectly fine. But actually, it was giving me horrible results. You know, I was really struggling with the finish. And basically it's because I had no idea what I was doing. On that end mill that you just saw, you know, this looks like there's a ridge there, but it's actually perfectly smooth. And this is brass and that was steel, so that's not exactly the same. But the main difference is reading this book. And I know this looks like the kind of book you'd find in the works or something like that, but actually it's really good. It tells you exactly how you should be cutting things, how you should be holding them, and not just for this lathe, but any lathe that's not brand new and you know, maybe has some of the idiosyncrasies. Because one of the main issues on this, for example, is rigidity, which is why I'm using this vertical slide. So this bolts down in both of these slots here, bolts straight down, and it's really, really rigid. And that's actually much more valuable than the other type. And this is a pretty commonly available dual swivel type. So if you undo this nut, you can swivel. You know, this would be just down here. These fit into the T-slot grooves on the cross slide, and you undo this, and then this wiggles around, and you can rotate this so you can cut diagonals. And you can even undo this one here and swivel it that way, and then you can cut channels and things at funny angles. And that's definitely useful, but it's so much less rigid than this, and that's just the big problem. You know, look at the overhang. This is where the tool post is. So the cross slide is attached. It's on some gib strips here, and then I'm bolting it over here. And look at this overhang to get to the clamp. So when this is spinning around, it's applying pressure so far away from the pivot point that it's really easy to get vibration and chatter and inaccuracies. So using a fixed vertical slide, a chunky vise, this is a slot drill, which again, that book goes into detail about why you might want to use a slot drill over an end mill, and you get much better results. And so that's what I've been doing. And what I've actually got so far is, this is the cylinder I showed you. Oops. So this cylinder, let me excuse my hands, this cylinder here is going to pivot inside that slot there, so it's going to move back and forth. This is the exhaust port of the cylinder. So you probably can't see it, but down there's a little hole for that exhaust. And here, this is the engine frame. These are just screw mountings. I'm going to be mounting this onto a piece of wood. And down there, you can see there's the pivot. There's the pivot hole, and that's the inlet and exhaust. And what that will do is I will spin this crank pin around, which will spin this flywheel, And on the other side of the flywheel, I've got a pulley wheel, and then that pulley wheel can be attached to a dynamo or some Meccano device or something to perform some work. One of the funny thing is, although I've got a big lathe, sorry, well I think it's big, I couldn't quite part off the work I had to get that base material for that flywheel, so I had to cut through. I managed to part this much, and had to cut the rest by hand, as you can see with a hacksaw. And that was not fun in the slightest, and I do not wish to repeat that at all. But anyway, that's what I've been up to. So made this little guy using the milling vertical slide and the slot drill, and just some regular drills. It's just here, yeah, it's been great fun. I think I've actually made this slightly too short, because it should be about 2 1/4 inches, and I think it's just about 1 3/4. So actually, this cylinder is going to be way too short to pivot here and not whack this crank. But actually, the only thing that needs to be replaced is this, and this was only a few minutes on the milling machine to mill it all off square and do these holes. So that's what I've been up to, and I hope you've enjoyed it.